Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Two Asian Blokes Podcast, a podcast where we talk about Asian pop culture, films, TV shows, comic books, anime, music, food, video games, whatever we're feeling at the time, really. My name is Dan with H. With me, as always, is my co-host Tavi. Hello, Tavi.
Hey, Jan. What's going on?
Not much. How you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. It's winter at the moment, but it's actually a really nice day outside. A little bit windy, but yeah, just chilled out. Like, haven't had a chance to just chill out for a little while. Been a bit busy.
You've been busy,
but, yeah. But I mean, with our, we can jump straight into our what have we been watching segment.
Well, eventually we're going to talk about the Roundup, No Way Out, the newest installment in Ma Dong-seok's Big Punch action franchise.
Yeah.
But yes, like you said, before we do that, let's do our reoccurring segment. What have we been watching? Cue the music.
Very nice.
What have you been watching, Tavi?
Been enjoying a lot of stuff recently, actually. Switch it up a little bit. It's not just what I've been watching, but what I've been listening to.
Okay.
You've seen that I was at the Baby Metal gig about a week ago, which I'll probably talk about a bit more on a solo episode, maybe, perhaps.
Cool.
But yeah, it was very good. Better than I expected, actually. It was very entertaining, a very good show.
How was the crowd?
Yeah, the crowd was... Blackpink were playing the same night.
Yep.
So when I was
right next door, right? Is that?
Yeah, right next door, literally next door. Like Rod Laver. I was at Margaret Court, where all like the basement dwelling metalheads were at, and then all the Asian girls with glow sticks went to Blackpink. Yeah, you could basically when I was walking to the venue, I'm like, I noticed that there was a lot of like Asian girls like walking towards this venue. I'm like, this doesn't seem like a Baby Metal crowd. Like, oh, this is like kind of cool. Yeah. And I saw like all these like hawkers selling like these neon like glow sticks, like these kind of shaded pink glow sticks. I'm thinking, that's not really Baby Metal's color.
Interesting choice. Yeah. Baby Metal would have black glow sticks.
yeah. And then I realized it's Blackpink is playing the same night. And then when I went to the other side, it was mostly like white dudes like tatted up.
Oh yeah.
Like metal heads.
Yeah.
But like it was a good show. Yeah, I've got some more footage. I'll hopefully try to chuck that into an episode whenever I get that done.
I did not go, by the way.
Okay.
This was in Melbourne, so I did not attend.
Melbourne.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it looked good.
It was really good.
It's like a lot of moshing going on.
Yeah, it was like got progressively bigger as the show went on. Yeah, it was really good.
There seemed like a lot of production value as well, right? Like,
Baby Metal stuff has always got like big production, so yeah, it doesn't disappoint.
Nice.
Yeah, but also, I actually hadn't watched anything recently until last night, where I watched two movies.
Okay.
I watched Extraction 2 and Renfield.
Oh, wow, okay, nice.
And paired up with what we're going to talk about today, I've been watching a lot of people getting punched and torn apart and slapped very hard.
Okay.
But Extraction 2 it's pretty good. Like, it's more of the same. I actually didn't have too much of a recollection of the first Extraction.
I mean, like, there's not that much to remember, right? Like, he extracts someone and he shoots his way out of India, I think, maybe.
I think he tries to rescue like a son from like a gangster, like a politician's son. And I remember that there's like a Indian merc or special forces guy who's like really badass. And then he has that team. I think she's like a French Indian lady, and
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, she's got a much bigger role in this one.
Okay.
I mean, like at the end of the first one, it's like Chris Hemsworth is like dead, or so you think, but he's obviously not. Otherwise, there'd be no Extraction 2.
Right.
It's not like this is his brother.
I mean,
situation.
isn't it like he falls into the water right at the end of the first one? But isn't it like it's kind of like implied that he lives because there's that scene at the very start of the movie where he's holding his breath for ages.
Yeah, it's implied that, it's confirmed, like, this is not really a spoiler because there would be no Extraction.
I mean, it could be a prequel, Tavi.
It's not a prequel.
Okay.
So, like, at the very first couple of minutes, it's like, they just find him, and he's like, he's still breathing. And it's like, that's basically it.
Good.
So, like, they just nurse him back to health.
That's good. I'm happy that there's more Extraction. I'm very much looking forward to watching it, probably tonight.
Especially for fans of a lot of, like, Asian martial arts action cinema. There's definitely like a lot of comparisons that you can draw, like when you watch some of the sequences. Like there's a prison sequence. It's like, that's the Raid 2. And there's a train sequence. That's Carter.
The movie that everybody watched. Okay. I mean that was a Netflix film as well, right? So.
Yeah, there's a pretty long action scene, which I'm not sure if it's done in one take, but it's like if Carter had a much bigger budget and a more concise theme or more concise tone, I guess.
Okay.
But it's very good.
But then it wouldn't be the really fun movie Carter, Tavi, without the convoluted plot lines and lack of focus.
Carter's a bit of a guilty pleasure.
It was a fun movie, man. I don't think it gets enough credit.
Carter. I don't think so either. Yeah, I genuinely enjoy it.
But speaking of the Raid 2, so you know how like the Raid Redemption was quite grounded, and then the Raid 2 was quite comic booky, and like they definitely stepped it up. That's like the same thing happened with John Wick, right? It was like in the sequel they kind of
it's a little bit grounded, and then it gets a bit more gets a bit more comic book.
Do you think the same thing applies to Extraction 2? Do you think it?
No, Extraction 2 is still quite grounded. There are moments where it's like it's clearly like this is a film, like there's villains and there's because I think it's set in Georgia now, so it's moved from India and Bangladesh to Georgia. So I think the main villains are like these like Georgian militia group that like.
Are you talking about Georgia America or Georgia Russia?
I'm talking about Georgia Russia.
Okay.
So not America. Yeah. So it's like not quite the Russians, but like, I guess they wanted to be a little bit subtle with who's the new bad guy to portray in films.
Okay.
It's like back in the 90s when like we'd not just ended the Cold War, but Russia was always
the punching bag guy.
But now like they're slowly pivoting towards that, but because we watched a little bit of like the first Extraction just for like context, and I think the villains aren't as like unlikable in this one. Like in the first one, there's those like really slimy Indian guys that throw kids off the fucking roof of the balcony. If you remember that, it's like
yes, I remember.
That's pretty unlikable. The portrayal of these guys are kind of like nationalists, loyalists, like they love God and whatever, but they're still bad guys. But no good action sequences. It's not like as over the top as John Wick. Chris Hemsworth is not as invincible, I guess. There's probably two big not plot points, but like plot contrivance. I'm not sure what you call it, but there's two things where you're like,
plot conveniences.
Like, this probably wouldn't have happened if you had killed that guy. And it's like there's not really much of a reason for them not to. It's just kind of like in that scene in that Star Wars game Force Unleashed where the guy's like, let it go, kind of that feeling. And then it's just like no, you shouldn't have. But like but otherwise it's pretty good. You'll definitely enjoy it. It's a very easy watch. And then Renfield is just more like another violent film, but complete like other end on the camp factor. I wouldn't say it's a particularly good film, but it's pretty enjoyable. And Nick Cage is hamming it up as Dracula.
I heard he's quite good in it.
That movie would not be watchable if it wasn't for Nick Cage's campiness, I guess.
That can be said about a lot of Nick Cage films.
No, he's having a lot of fun. He's chewing a lot of scenery. That's for sure. Good. Yeah, Nick Cage.
I like Nick Holt as well.
I like Nicholas
in the right
Hoult,
role, I guess is quite good.
Yeah, the movie was pretty negatively received. I think it bombed as well.
Why do you think that is?
The story moves, like the plot moves probably a little bit too quickly, and it's like there's a lot of convenient plotting where like things kind of just happen.
Okay.
And I think it's like the tone, not inconsistent, but the tone, it's like ultra violent at times, but also like very light, which may be something that people are not used to. But then there's also like this other like crime subplot, which kind of seems like it's a different movie. It kind of suffers from being all over the place, I guess.
Okay. You mean the Aquafina stuff?
Yeah, the Aquafina stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it's not bad, but yeah, just like, and there's like this crime lady who's kind of just like seems inconsequential, but like it kind of needed to be there. I don't know. Okay. And I think it's just didn't really know what it wanted to be, maybe. And yeah, okay. But like it's a silly plot. Yeah. Like it's.
You think they should have just committed to the silliness then?
It's more so like its message and its theme is like very not subtle.
Okay.
It kind of beats you over the head with it a little bit. Like basically know exactly what this movie is about and what it's trying to say. And I guess it's good, but it's kind of like, yeah, it's, I don't know, it's a bit heavy-handed.
Is it like about
with its messaging.
Toxic relationships or something?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's about toxic relationships.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a bit of fun. Yeah, not a movie to be taken too seriously.
Yeah, it's a bit of fun. It's actually pretty funny, and there's some pretty like horrifically but comically gory scenes in it. It's like, yeah, I think the gore, some of it like looks a little bit dodgy with the CGI, but there's some pretty good practical effects as well, because like Nicolas Cage is kind of like regenerating as Dracula, so he's like in this prosthetics, and it looks pretty good. But like, there's some pretty like funny punchline violence, as you say, yeah. The dude gets his face ripped off, and it's pretty funny. Yeah, it's I think you'll enjoy it. It's a very like if you're in with the right crowd and the right mindset, because I watched this with Boone and Nat, and I think everyone like enjoyed it. Everyone had a pretty good time.
Yeah, that sounds.
But check it out. Yeah, but. What about yourself? Like, I had my big long...
Well, yeah, I'm...
what have I been doing, I guess?
I've been watching a few things. I watched Fast X, Tavi, Fast X, which I'll probably save until you watch it, because I feel like we can have a pretty fun conversation about that movie. I'm gonna place the bet, though. I'm gonna say that you're not gonna enjoy it, I reckon.
Yeah, it's weird, because, like, I'm kind of, like, looking forward to watching it, but... I don't know why. Like, I'm not sure if Jason Momoa...
I believe Fast 9 was on our worst of list. Was it on your worst of list as well for that year?
Yeah, it was on my worst of list. Yeah. Well. But I think we mentioned in a previous episode that this... I think you said that this one is better than 9, which is that
well,
same
I mean,
much?
honestly, no, because Fast 9 was it's a really bad movie. But, I mean, it's better than it not being better, I guess.
I don't know. This is the most excited I've been for a Fast
and it's mainly because of Jason Momoa.
I don't know why. It's just Jason Momoa.
I will say, and I think I think this is a pretty popular opinion. It's Jason Momoa is the best part of the film.
I think the people making the trailer did a good job at like showing Jason Momoa like chewing the scenery. So a lot of like the film snobs like me can go watch the movie. Ironically,
that's why the Fast franchise is so successful. I think they've struck that balance of like it's dumb enough for like a lot of people to genuinely enjoy, but also it's dumb enough to bring in the film snobs on an ironic level.
I think so. Yeah, like I don't watch them ironically, but like. This one is probably like the most... I mean, I've only seen Fast 9 in the cinemas. I like
the Fast 9, man. I think on balance, maybe half of them are good. But yeah, I'll save that for after you've watched it. I also watched a movie on Netflix called Duel.
Oh, yeah, that's that's one with Karen Gillan in it, right? Yeah, I've heard some things. Some man told me to watch this movie. He says
it's from the same director as The Art of Self-Defense, which is a film that I really enjoyed.
which is
So and it has the same tone. So everybody's kind of weird. Everyone's got this weird stoic delivery. But there are more sci-fi elements, I guess, in this film. Like it's set in a world there where like if you know you're going to die due to illness or whatever, you can choose to clone yourself so that your family doesn't have to suffer the loss of your death. And then the clone of yourself kind of like spend some time with you so they can accurately mimic your behavior after you've passed. But then, so Karen Gillan, what's her name? Karen Gillian or Karen Gillan?
I think it's Gillan. Yeah, I'm not sure. Karen Gillan fans can just write in the comments, tell us how wrong we are.
Yeah, Karen Gillan, that's it. Okay. Like the setup is she knows she gets diagnosed with this like illness that's going to kill her, so she does this cloning thing, and then the clone starts to live with her, and she finds out that she is not going to die. She's actually like gone into remission, but the thing is, in this world, there can only be one. So in the event where there's a clone and like the real person. They have to basically fight to the death to see who gets to continue living. Her character has like 1 year to kind of train to defeat her clone. But I mean, it sounds like an action sci-fi film, right? Especially since Karen Gillan has like done some action films in the past, so she can do it. But it's not that. It's more like it's more of a black comedy. Yeah,
it looked like that, especially from the trailer. Because I really like the premise of this movie. Yeah. Like, I think it's a really cool premise. And I'll eventually get down to watching it. I know this movie has pretty mixed reviews.
I think with any black comedy, it's kind of like...
You think it's a bit too...
the humor is either you really like it or you don't, right?
Is this more of like an art house movie as well, do you reckon?
Would you call The Art of Self-Defense an art house movie?
It's stranger. Yeah. It's a little bit. Like, it's definitely not
It's not a blockbuster.
It's not a blockbuster. Yeah. It's not really a conventional film.
And neither is Duel. Yeah.
Yeah. They're kind of like... These are very, like, kind of interesting, like, American films because they deal with, like, a lot of, like, American issues, like, in that kind of black comedy way. It's very much like... Beau is Afraid. Like I get that kind of feeling. Yeah. I've mentioned that movie a lot. I think it's a great movie.
I think probably another issue with Duel is probably maybe the marketing. I know because I went in pretty blind and I was expecting like a sci-fi action thing, and it turns out that's not the movie I got. And even though I still enjoyed the movie that I did watch, I could see how like if you were expecting a sci-fi action film with Karen Gillan. And you watched Duel, you might be disappointed.
Yeah. Do you think that's the case then? Like, do you think people read the premise? It's like, it's going to be an action film.
Could be. Could very well be. Like, I did that. Yeah.
I like walking into a movie and being pleasantly surprised or not getting what I expected. I think that's something that like a film goer should maybe sort of train themselves to be doing. If you open yourself up to a lot of like different, because I mean, like I watch a lot of stuff as you know, and you do as well. So I think you and I are a bit more privy to like enjoy something even if it's not exactly what we had anticipated.
But at the same time, if you are in the mood for a certain kind of movie, and you don't get that, I can understand why you would be a bit salty as well. Like, because sometimes you have to be in the mood to watch a certain kind of movie, especially kind of like more introspective and slow burny films. So but luckily I was just in the right state of mind.
And to segue into the movie that we're going to be talking about.
A movie that I could honestly watch any time of the day.
If you will get exactly what you're expecting because it is the third in the Crime City series. It's the Roundup No Way Out. And it is another 2 hours or just under 2 hours of Ma Dong-seok being a badass and slapping people and knocking people out in one punch, being like almost invincible in this.
Oh point. Yeah, they really like, stepped up his invincibility level in this movie. So I don't think this movie is that spoiler heavy. I mean, like, you know.
Yeah, not really. You pretty much know exactly what's going to happen. Yeah. But I mean, like, you can put your obligatory spoiler warning
if you want to go in blind, maybe go out and watch this film first and then come back to this episode. I mean, we've talked about the Roundup series in the past before as well. So, I mean, if you haven't watched any of the Crime City movies, they're all pretty good and they're all pretty similar. Yeah. So go watch one.
Yeah, you can put you can put any of these on, and I think you wouldn't be particularly lost. Like, you'd just be like, I mean, they all have the same formula. Like, every one of these starts off with like some kind of petty crime that is happening. And then Ma Dong-seok being a badass with like raw guitars playing, and then diffusing the scene with his like badassery and knocking out a couple of goons. The first one was about like, it was based on a true story where it's like about a drug rink. No, it was what was it again? It was like there was a crime rink in Korea.
It was just gangsters. So it was like about all of the different gangs in a certain area of Seoul. And then a new gang comes into town and just starts messing up with the dynamic.
That's it. That guy. The Chinese like gang.
Yeah.
And then the second one, it's like set in the Philippines, isn't it? Or in Thailand?
Some of it is set in Vietnam, I think. I can't remember.
Oh, it's Vietnam. I was just getting all these some of our Southeast Asian listeners probably just like, you fucking bastard. You don't, how dare
we have done an episode of, if you want a more accurate retelling of the story, go listen to the episodes we did on the Outlaws and the Roundup. But that was a different crime, right? Was it about human trafficking or kidnapping?
Yeah, I think it was about human trapficking. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
I think so. I forgot now. But
I just remember at the start where like that rich guy goes into the van.
Yeah, he goes into the van.
He proceeds to get kidnapped and beaten up.
There's a couple of those scenes in this movie, and in Extraction too, where there's a rich guy who you know is gonna die, but like, what is this doing here? It's like, can you not read the situation? This one involves the Triads? Yeah, not the Triad, no, the Yakuza. Sorry, fuck, man. People are going to get real pissed off at it. So this
I mean, there are Triads in it as well.
There are Triads in this one as well. There are 4
languages in this movie. Okay. Yeah, there's Mandarin, Korean, Japanese, and English a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of English, yeah. But it's mainly like about the Yakuza. But there's also like more corrupt cops, I guess. Like, even though like the first Roundup, like the detectives were a bit more like on the wishy-washy like kind of thing. Like, they had a lot of like people on the inside that were like doing work for them. Like, but they're kind of just like good cops now.
So this movie is about yakuzas and corrupt cops, right? So do you want to set up a brief outline of the plot for us?
Yeah, it's just about Ma Dong-seok, his team. They're promoted to the MIU, the Metropolitan Investigation Unit, and they are investigating a new drug that has come into Korea from Japan called Hyper, and they're trying to figure out like who is behind selling these drugs. And while there's a B plot, there's a corrupt cop. I've forgotten his name.
The corrupt cop is Ju Song-chol. Character's name, Ju Song-chol.
Oh, yeah. So, that's right. Song-chol is like kind of a handsome, dirty cop-ish.
Yeah.
And he's trying to do like a deal with the Triads, with the Yakuza's like Hyper is what it's called. But I think it's just basically cocaine, isn't it?
Well, it's a party drug.
They probably just changed it. Yeah, it's a party drug. But like his plot is that he mainly is getting screwed over by a lot of his own men and other groups that are like trying to screw him over because there's a deal that's like 20 kg of hyper, and then a lot of people are like trying to steal it from him, and then he kind of gets into a lot of trouble, and it's almost like the film almost revolves more around him than like Ma Dong-seok, because Ma Dong-seok is trying to figure out like how to get this guy, because he doesn't know at this point, but he's just like beating up people. If you're like sensitive to like cops, this might not be the movie for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of police brutality in this movie.
There's a few scenes of glorified police brutality of that typical like Korean officers bringing people in and beating confessions out of them.
Yeah, and it's played off as a laugh as well. So
yeah, it's played off as a laugh.
I mean, if you are sensitive to that, that's a fair point. You might not enjoy this movie. There is a bit happening in the plot, but essentially it is just Ma Dong-seok's character, who is Ma Sok-do, just him trying to bring what's it called, the criminal organization that's responsible for trafficking hyper to justice. And that brings him in the line of this corrupt cop that is helping the gangsters bring it into Korea. Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's a bit of focus on the villain here, but I think that's pretty par for the course for this Crime City series.
Yeah.
Like there's a fair, like, pretty good balance of like, the cop unit, which is full of those likable guys, as well as the criminals, which are generally unlikable, but there are some that are like added for like comedic value.
Yeah, there was a lot of comedy in this film. I'm curious about the audience that you saw this with, because I think I went on a Tuesday, and like it was obviously like there were no white people in the cinema. Like there was none. There were obviously a lot of Koreans, but I was quite surprised that there were a lot of like Korean girls watching this movie and like couples, because this series is a heavily masculine like trilogy of films. Like it is like a bro movie. Like there are basically no females in this film like that have any like character arc or anything. So it's like, I mean,
there are
this is a boys' night out. There's a couple, but like this is a boys' night out kind of movie. It's kind of like I think like like the general fact that I don't like rom-coms, but like maybe there's a female Tavi who doesn't generally like action films. So it's kind of like I don't see this movie really appealing to a general female demographic, but like I was just very surprised. It's like, and they all seem to be like quite enjoying it like a lot. Like they laughed at a lot of the scenes. So I was like, it was a pretty pretty good attendance. Not a huge attendance, but like it was. I mean, it was actually a good atmosphere.
Girls can like action as well.
Girls can like action just as much as some guys. And as much as guys like rom-coms, I'm just like,
I think this movie is just a bit of dumb fun, I think. Like, and also I think Ma Dong-seok is quite popular.
He's quite charismatic.
Yeah, he is. I guess we'll talk about him more in a sec. But my session was mostly couples as well, mostly Korean couples by the sounds of it. I saw it with my mum, and she loved it. She had a great time. She's a big fan of Jack Reacher, and Ma Dong-seok is basically Korean Jack Reacher. Just the biggest man, just steamrolling everybody. I don't know. Like, I think this is just the kind of movie where, it's just a bit of damn fun, really.
I think, I mean, there's obviously, like outliers, I mean, you can watch whatever you like. I'm just talking in the traditional sense, or my traditional preconceptions or whatever, but, like, I mean, it was cool to see like an audience. I mean, like it was the opposite of when I watched Project Wolf Hunting. And there was like this Korean couple behind, not couple. There was these two girls, and at the end of the movie, they were like, "I'm so sorry I took you to this movie." Because it was just like 2 hours of like, they're like, "I'm never trusting Rotten Tomatoes again." But I think this is the kind of film. Yeah, it's the third one in this series, and you know exactly what you're gonna get.
And it's violent, but it's not like Project Wolf. It's not gory. Right? Like,
it's not very gory.
There are people getting stabbed and like sliced, but it's usually a bit of cutaway involved. So and there's not that much like blood effects or anything like that.
I think this is a fairly, like, I mean, you know me, I'd always like, oh, it'd be cooler. Like, there's a scene where there's a guy like slicing people with samurai swords.
Yeah. Ricky, played by Munetaka Aoki, who was in those Kenshin movies, right? Very fun appearance in this movie.
Yeah, he's enjoying himself. Yeah, his character was cool. But like, that scene, it's violent, but it's not overly violent. I don't think these films are overly violent, but they're not like soft either. Like they're quite
impactful.
It's still quite high impact.
It's kind of like it reminds me of like Tom Cruise's brand of action. You know, it's like everything he does to villains looks painful, but it's not like gory and not uncomfortable to watch, I guess.
When I was like, if I'm watching a movie, let's say like Shang-Chi, I think like I would want this level of violence, like where it's like it's still violent, but it's also like quite accessible. I think like my issues with that movie, that it's just a little bit too soft for my taste. But like this, I think this one, it's like you can take someone who is not super privy to action violence, and then it's kind of like, it's not going to be too hard hitting. It's not going to traumatize people, as you and I have been doing with a couple of our collabs, which you can probably like look forward to. We did with the
Block Blunders,
Character Chaos and Block Blunders. So any of our guests can look forward to.
When we say it's not violent, take it with a grain of salt. If you don't know our taste in movies, then be forewarned that Tavi and I have a pretty high tolerance to violent cinema. On the topic of the violence, like, I mean, for us, it's like super fun to watch Ma Dong-seok beat up people. And I think, like this movie, particularly this third movie in this series of movies, I think they know exactly what they're doing now. They've got the formula.
This
one feels like a lot more self-aware than its predecessors. Like Ma Dong-seok, like you said, is basically invincible at this point. I mean, he does get into a little bit of trouble towards the latter half of this film.
But it's kind of like he's like faking it.
That was his plan all along, was to get taken. That's true. There's so much more boxing in this movie as well than the previous ones. Like I think in the previous ones he kind of like throws people around. He throws punches, but it's not like, he doesn't dodge like as much. You know what I mean?
I think they switched it up. I think you're right. So he does a lot of dodging, a lot of like
like he demonstrates a certain level of speed that wasn't in the previous movies. Which I've got no complaints about that. I think that's very fun, even though it is probably less believable than the action in the previous movies. It's just really fun to watch. He's just rocking guys left and right. Like,
I really enjoyed the sound design in this movie. When every time Ma Dong-seok punches someone, like it sounds like it hurts.
And it sounds very crunchy.
The combination of sound design and acting from the people getting hit with like the doe-eyed and then slowly slumping over.
It's so much slow slumping to the ground in this movie. It's great. And like people's heads snap back. Guy shits his pants at one point.
It's like, don't punch me in the
I mean, it's great action direction. Like you said, the stunt work is quite good, and just the level of destructible environments too. Like it's really good to see people like going through actual objects, like it's like smashing through tables and the tables like disintegrate, crashing through windows and whatnot. It's nicer to watch than something like maybe a Netflix action movie where it would kind of be set in a warehouse, like a fight scene would just be in a warehouse and nobody really goes through anything. It's just kind of like a setting for a choreographed fight scene.
It's just, basically it's just like it's using the scenery like what you've written and then using that to elevate your action sequence. And I think they do that very well. I still think the best final fight in the whole Crime City is still the bathroom
one.
office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is hard to top
this one
a
is actually
bathroom
pretty good.
fight scene.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like the villain more in this one. There's a few. There's Ricky, which actually was your did your subtitles cut out like Ricky as in like the English name Ricky?
I think so. R-I-C-K-Y.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, same. Which is odd because like I didn't even think about it now because I got the cast list up on my screen and it's like Ricky, which is the Japanese way. I'm like, I wonder why they localized it like this.
I prefer the English one though. I like when I heard his name was Ricky and read it as R-I-C-K-Y. I'm like, oh, that's fun. That's like a really camp like nickname that he's got there, Ricky.
Ricky,
as opposed to like the Japanese spelling, which is it's a Japanese name as well. But I just found it fun, like the idea of this Yakuza guy just having an English name. This is a fun notion. Yeah.
It didn't. Yeah. I don't know. I'm still like, it's kind of like, I don't know why. I would have like, it would have made a little bit more sense if it was just his Japanese name. But like, it's not a big deal. I'm just like, I'm just wondering why they're localized. Maybe for the reasons as you said, it's just more fun. But it's like, it just seems a little less authentic, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I liked him. I feel like maybe they could have like hammed him up even a bit more. Like I would have loved him to like just be really kind of like anime Yakuza style, like with a big pompadour. That would have been cool. And I think maybe he's dispatched a bit too easily by Ma Dong-seok. Like I think that's the hard part of this film series is because Ma Dong-seok is so overpowered. You don't really get
a bit too easily.
You don't really get an even fight with when he's involved.
And like the stakes are high, but it's like you're not worried at all throughout the whole movie that someone
because there are two, like Ricky as well as Ju Song Chol are like pretty even in terms of like the level of bad guys. Like obviously Ju Song Chol is like the worst
he'd
one.
be like the main
villain.
He's like the main antagonist.
But like I thought they could have positioned Ricky as more of a threat to Ma Dong-seok perhaps.
I thought he was going to be the final fight. Yeah, you're probably right. It probably could have been a bit more even, I guess. But like Ma Dong-seok, he's just too powerful.
He's too powerful. Yeah.
Like it's probably like might be a bit of an issue, I think, because this is a very light movie series, especially the second and third one, where it's like they're so easy to watch that it might be a little bit too easy to watch. That like ultimately, as a series, it might be a little bit forgettable because, like, I mean, you and I were just talking about the first and second one, and we've like not remembered that much.
But we enjoyed them while watching them.
Yeah, we still, like these movies you can watch anytime, and you can watch them over and over. But like for it to leave a major lasting impression, I guess it's like it lacks a little bit of gravitas.
Sure.
The first one definitely has the most because the first one feels the most raw because it is based on a true story, and I think it was a different director, and like the formula wasn't perfected. It was a bit like the characters felt a bit raw, but they felt more real because Ma Suk-do wasn't like the great humanitarian cop that he's kind of portrayed in the second and third one. I mean, he's still like beating up people for, a confession, but like his character in the first one is still like he's not a completely good guy. Like
he does work with the gangsters as well, right?
Yeah,
like
he does work with the gangsters. He goes to like these like strip clubs and like has drinks with girls and whatever. But like at the end of the day, when it's like justice to like protect innocent people, he does his job. But like he's kind of a little bit more on a high horse on the second and third one, especially it's because he's like I mean, there's a really funny scene where they go to one of the guys and they're like trying to sell like a car to this couple for like a really overpriced and then like Ma Dong-seok just comes in and he just makes the deal for them and it's like I'll give you the car for $3. Who was that character, the one that is like in the short shorts all the time?
What's his name? Like he's got a really silly name as well. Cherry is his name.
Cherry. I don't quite remember remember what he was like a fixer or something.
So he
just knew.
Used to be in a gang that was like in charge of kind of drug running, I guess, in Korea.
Yeah.
But like they got forced out by Ju Song Chol's operation. So that's why like they bring him on board to kind of like for a little bit of subterfuge, a little bit of intelligence gathering, but mostly just so they could have someone to bully.
Basically comic relief.
There's
all his scenes are really funny.
There's a bit of comic relief. Like you said, I think the first movie is quite gritty, a bit more gritty, and now it's kind of gotten to this point where they've got the perfect balance of like comedy and action. I think this series to me feels a lot like the progression of the Lethal Weapon series.
Yeah, I was gonna say it. Yeah, I think that's a good comparison.
It's like it's got the likable cops. It's pretty snappy dialogue as well. I mean, like the cops are likable, but they are also constantly abusing their power and extorting criminals. And it's kind of low stakes as well. The crime capers they're not world ending. They're in the scheme of movies, of action movies, that it's quite low stakes, and each movie has like a slightly different crime. Lots of police beatdowns. This kind of rotating cast of comedic side characters as well. Like I guess Cherry would be the Joe Pesci of the
I think so. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
The movies always end with like a really cathartic takedown of the big bad crime boss. I think like because there are more sequels on the way for this this series, right? Like the end of this movie sets up the next movie.
It's kind of like post credits featuring a character that I noticed was absent in the film, and then it's like, yes,
more Jung Yi-soo, please, more Jung Yi-soo.
Everyone in the theater kind of laughed when they saw him as well. It was pretty funny. Yeah, people
like this ridiculous wig on. It's quality.
So it's good. Like I'm looking forward to seeing more Jung Yi-soo.
So I think if like as this series progresses, I do feel like it's probably going to go the same route as a Lethal Weapon. I think eventually they'll introduce a female character for Ma Dong-seok to bond with, I guess. Maybe some family elements.
This series of film, though, it's so like refreshing. Like watching a movie that knows exactly what it is and it's just delivering like entertainment. Because like as I was saying, like Ma Dong-seok being overpowered might be like a bit of a flaw, but it's also like, man, this is just so entertaining to watch. Like, I don't even really care if he's overpowered. And if I know he's not going to be in any trouble at all throughout the whole movie. It's just so much fun, like, watching him, like, just, like, fucking crack someone's face. And just, like, and just so being, hard. Like, really bad at, it is such easy watching. And, like, it's the kind of film that if you watch and you're tired, it'll like wake you up because it's just so easy to get into it. It's like comfort movie, like you'd sit down with your like box of popcorn and your drink and you can just watch it. Like, there's no characters like, oh, why'd you make that decision, or like why'd you do there's like no stress watching this movie.
Very clear who the good guys are and who the bad guys are as well. There's a lot of fun to be had. Like the Ma Dong-seok's cop unit, I think they changed some of the actors, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember.
The captain is definitely different. The captain.
Is he? Okay.
Because I kind of miss the old captain. I quite liked that actor because he's like a bit of a bitch ass, I guess. I think like this captain is portrayed as less so.
I honestly didn't notice that they changed the actor.
I think some of the cops are from the previous movies, but some of them,
he has that one cop that is just always following Ma Dong-seok throughout the whole movie.
I think that's a carryover.
He's apologizing. That character's really funny.
Yeah, they've got
just
good
trying
chemistry.
to like calm down. Yeah.
I really enjoy the scene where they're going clubbing together. They just look super like out of place, but they've like made an effort to try to fit in. And like the girls are talking about them in the line, and yeah, Ma Dong-seok has a funny
like,
moment
what
where
the
she's
fuck?
thinking like, oh, they're talking about us.
Yeah. He's like, oh, yeah. This is kind of like what Hollywood movies used to be in the 90s. This kind of
they
film.
don't really. It's hard to find a modern day contemporary in Hollywood.
Like almost like it's not quite a buddy. I wouldn't say it's a buddy cop movie, but it has that feeling where it's just like you got some very charismatic characters, and it's like the story. There's not really much of a theme in this movie. It's more like the plot is just so entertaining, and it's just very well paced. Like you are never bored at any point during this movie. Well, I felt I was never bored. Like I was just like in from the get go. Like it was just like it like this movie felt like it was very short, but I think it was like an hour and 50 minutes. And like I could easily just like go now and watch it again in a cinema and enjoy it. I think I might actually, just because I actually had a really good time like watching this movie in the theater. Like I really enjoyed like the atmosphere and the people that I watched it with. I think it gives you that like participatory aspect. I mean, there wasn't anybody going, "Woo, yeah, I love it," or anything like that. It was
just people
like,
laughing at
like,
the right times, right?
Yeah, there wasn't anybody going like, "What was that? Chris Pine is amazing." There was no one. Yeah, it was just a really good like movie experience. I think like this movie and probably like Beau is Afraid is probably like the best movie experience that I've had this year so far. Just like very, very good crowd of people. Yeah. I think that's just Melbourne. Melbourne's got a very good cinema culture. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think it's a very good formula that they've got here. Like it's quite low stakes as well, so they don't have to rely on visual effects. Everything is quite practical. Yeah, just likable characters. Very good dialogue as well, I found. I think probably this is maybe the funniest one.
I think so. Yeah. There was a lot of laughs in this movie. Yeah.
And the jokes,
they really know how to handle their humor.
The jokes come pretty fast as well. And like even the violence is funny too. So and it's by design, like they've obviously thought about like how to make this guy getting hit in the face look as funny as possible. It's quite good. Like I think in terms of like action cinema, probably like a John Wick is similar. Like the first John Wick movie is pretty similar in the way that it's kind of like very practical. It's all down to like the choreography and the action direction. But like the comedic side of it, I think, kind of elevates it a bit more. I don't know. Like, do you think you would get tired of watching this kind of movie?
Maybe. Like, it depends on how many they release and the frequency of their release. Like, if there is one a year, then it's like, okay, maybe that's a bit much. But usually, like, with these kind of films, that there is a bit of a space in the gap. Even though last year was the second one, like it's kind of I think I could because like I watch a lot of other different stuff in between. So
well, I
like,
walked out of the cinema like wanting more, really.
I'm just looking at one of the production companies that I just found. It's called
Big Punch Productions.
I'm just like, that's definitely that's a good way to put it. I definitely want more at this point in time. I want to see more. Like I want like more just fun, like just like fun, easy to watch cinema that's like not taking itself too seriously, I guess. I just remembered that like there's that very like popular Japanese actor Jun Kuribura. He's basically like, do you need a gangster in your film? This guy will play.
It's pretty much like the new Beats Takeshi, right?
He's in The Raid 2. He's in this movie. I'm pretty sure there was another gangster movie from a different country that I saw him in. No, he's in Kate, right?
Is he? Yeah,
I think he's the boss. He's in Kate.
Right.
So like he's just a gangster boss, a Yakuza boss in every movie that he plays in. He's actually that guy's quite a funny actor. Actually, if you watch some of his other stuff, like Why Don't You Play in Hell, he's pretty funny in that movie. But
He's
yeah,
also
like, I
in the
saw that
Howling.
guy.
Oh no, the Wailing. Sorry.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, John Kunimura. Yeah. He's good on. He's still like, I mean,
I wonder if he'll make
probably a pretty
another
old dude.
appearance in this series of films, because his
they kinda
character
set
in
him
this
up,
film
yeah.
is in Japan. So like Ma Dong Seok. I mean, I guess Ma Dong Seok's gone abroad before. So yeah, maybe.
Oh yeah, that's right. The Eternals.
No, I mean like in these series of movies, the cop character has gone to Vietnam, right? In the previous.
Yeah. It was Vietnam, right?
Probably.
For some reason, I thought it was Thailand. Like, yeah, I think actually I could better have a look at this before. It's just like, yeah.
Imagine if it was Laos.
It's definitely not Laos. Yeah, no, it is Vietnam. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. They head to Ho Chi Minh City. Yeah.
There are some Chinese gangsters in this film as well. The Triads make an appearance.
Triads, yeah. Which, like, one of the only female characters who's the head of that particular triad group, I guess.
A bit underutilized as well, I reckon. Like, she kind of just disappears from the movie.
I think it was the filmmakers like, nah, we're going to keep with our, like, barely any women in this movie. It's like,
don't mess with the formula,
a triad boss. You're a triad boss or a waitress at a bar or like a call girl.
Yeah.
This is which is why I was like, this is a guy movie through and through.
I think it might be good for the film franchise in general, maybe to add a love interest of some kind or like something.
Yeah, I would like a Rene Russo.
Yeah, like a Rene
like
Russo. That's right. Like, because the thing about his character, Ma Dong Seok's character, is like he is invincible, basically, but also he's got no vulnerabilities at all. So like,
and I think I agree with that. Yeah, for sure.
So like he doesn't have a family, and like you do feel like a bit of like the only kind of tense bits that I felt in this movie are the bits involving his cop buddies, because they're like expendable, even if he isn't. So they could go at any minute. And like they get into some scraps in this movie as well. So like just having more characters around Ma Dong Seok that are more vulnerable, I think would be a good way to add a bit more tension into these films. Yeah, I don't know. What do you reckon? Like,
yeah, I think it'd be good to like. It would be good to like have a female co-lead, I suppose, like to give him just like some vulnerability, someone to kind of care about a bit more, like rather than his boys. Because I think after 3 movies, we kind of gather that he cares for his unit. So he will like stick it out for them or whatever.
Yeah. Like when their car got crashed into. And like the gangsters were like rolling up on them. I'm like, oh my god, these guys might die. These cops might die, but they don't. That's good.
There was also a lack of ball grabbing as well.
I think he grabs one set of balls.
He grabs one set of balls, but he grabs a lot more in the second one.
There's no Jung Isu, like, that's why. That's like Jung Isu's thing is getting his crotch grabbed.
His crotch grabbed by Butter. So like, I just like, I want to see more like crotch grabbing. It's like, more but like whatever they're gonna throw at me in the next one, I'm gonna enjoy it. I think these guys know what they're doing. I think there'll probably be a point where they will probably have to stop, because like even with the series like John Wick, as much as we love John Wick, and they've just reconfirmed that there's going to be a 5th one, so I guess he's not actually dead, which I kind of suspected. It's like like whether John Wick died at the end of 4 or not, it was depending on how successful John Wick 4 was, and it was highly successful. So they're going to make a 5th one where I wonder if they're pushing it just a little bit, but. Like you and I are still going to watch it because we're suckers for these kind of
keep them coming.
Kind of
I reckon.
franchises, keep them coming. To be honest, I don't really have like a particular want of whatever in the next one. It's just like just bring it, I'll watch it. But just bring it out.
I would like
I'll be there.
Maybe a villain that is maybe a bit more powerful. I don't know. Eventually, he'll have to come up with somebody that is of the same power level as him, right? That's generally how these kinds of movies work.
It'll be like an American guy or a British guy. That's when it's like the shit gets
serious. Dwayne The Rock Johnson comes in.
it's like Ip Man. It's like I mean, he fought the Japanese soldiers, and he like defeats them really easily, but he gets first tested by the Twister guy in the second one, the boxing.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised actually if they do bring in some Westerners. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I have that much more to say about this film.
Yeah, I think it's pretty. Yeah, there's not too much to discuss. Just go watch it. Go have a good time with the boys and the girls as well. As I have been proven wrong by the my audience members. So I mean, if they're listening to this, like, yeah, you made the film more enjoyable. So like, good on you guys.
Yeah.
But, like, thanks for turning up to a very enjoyable film. Watch more movies like this in the cinema. Yeah, they don't necessarily need to be like super big VFX blockbusters. Can be a low stakes action movie with a lot of comedy and like all of it, which hits like all the jokes I laughed at in this movie. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
there was never where I was like, I'm not sure about that. No forced humor, all organic. Yeah. No beef or vegetarian option. It is all good.
I think
humor.
the cinema does add to this movie as well. Just like you said, the sound design is quite good.
Yeah.
Very crunchy punches.
Yeah, it's probably out of the cinema by the time this episode, because it's like there was barely any. The only cinema that was showing it wasn't even Cinema Nova. It was Hoyts Melbourne Central.
Oh, yeah.
That was the only place in Melbourne you could watch it that I could find anyway. So it's a very limited screening.
I wonder if this one made money. Must have.
Probably in Korea. I'm not sure about here though. Like, I would have made a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It made shitload of money in Korea. Yeah. 62 million amassed at the Korean box office. Yeah, that's
good. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Yeah, you Koreans know what you're doing when it comes to this kind of fun.
All right, I think that's us. But guys, what did you think of the Roundup No Way Out? Would you keep watching this? Actually, wait, we didn't do our reoccurring segment, Tavi.
What the?
Yeah. If I know, I think we talked about it last time, but Sylvester Stallone has acquired the rights to this franchise. Is that right?
Oh, did he?
No. Yeah, I'm thinking of the wrong movie. I'm thinking of another Ma Dong-seok movie. The Gangster, the Cop, the Devil.
The Cop, the Devil, yeah.
But
he's going to be in the remake of this.
Yeah, if they were to make a Hollywood remake of this film, who would you cast and who would you get to direct?
Just give it to Jason Statham and Guy Ritchie. I'm sure they'd do a good job.
Yeah, this is pretty much Jason Statham's character, like that he plays in every movie, just an unstoppable badass, right?
You can set it in London. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this already exists. It's called Lock, Stock.
It's more like Transporter, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's more like Transporter.
Yeah, so maybe Louis Leterrier.
Right.
Give it to Louis Leterrier.
Give it to Guy Ritchie.
Guy Ritchie. Yeah, Guy Ritchie's good at gangster films. You're right.
Yeah,
snappy
give
dialogue.
It like that, like kind of like London flavor. Yeah,
it wouldn't be as fun to watch Jason Statham punch people though. I guess it would be a different kind of action.
Yeah, it's still pretty fun.
It would be Jason Statham's brand of action. Yeah.
I mean, I watched The Meg not too long ago.
With The Meg 2?
The Meg 2 is not out yet, but I kind of want to see The Meg 2 because it just looks fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
talking about self-aware movies, that movie seems very self-aware, which is good. That's a compliment.
The Meg one is not very good. It's pretty. I enjoyed it, but it's not a good movie. It's there's not actually that much Meg in it, so surprisingly.
Because they didn't go far enough, I reckon. It wasn't silly enough, I think. And I think the second movie is going to remedy that. I think they embrace the silliness.
Like I mean, he kicks a shark in the face, so that was enough. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's PG-13, which I'm not sure, because they said they wanted to go like a harder, like more violence one. Like they were thinking about making it R-rated, but I think they backed down. I think the Chinese production companies were like, no, because they don't like that kind of. Yeah, they wanted to make money, which is a shame. So.
Well. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I know you like your violence in cinema.
I do.
But yeah, Statham and Guy Ritchie, sorted. Nice.
Yeah, easy.
All right. That actually is us now, guys. What did you think of the Roundup, No Way Out? Did you like it as much as the previous movies? Would you keep coming back to this franchise? Let us know. You can get in touch with us at twoagentblokes@gmail.com. You can join our Facebook group to be part of the conversation, or you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at twoagentblokes to see what we're up to. Yeah, good fucking movie.
Good movie. Go enjoy it.
Yeah.
See.
Stop
listening to us.
All right, guys. Until next time, we'll see you later.
See ya.